organic content over the past, let's just say, decade has blown up, and so many people are good at creating content and bad at creating conversions. Two different things. Once again, you can be really good at getting attention and suck at monetizing it. Just because you have like a good hook on your TikTok doesn't mean that's going to be a good hook for a direct response. Just because you have like a video that you posted that got 5 million views doesn't mean you throw it on paid ads and you're a millionaire. There's like so many more pieces that come together for the direct response side to make money.
What if I told you that building a business in 2025 isn't about having the perfect product or the best looking website? It's about knowing how to combine AI with direct response and relentless experimentation to outlearn, outlast, and outbuild the competition. Hey, my name's Arjun. I'm the CEO and founder of doola.com, a VC-backed fintech startup in New York City. To learn more about what we do, you can check us out at doola.com. I've been running a series called the 15-Minute Founder, where I sit down with the top founders, entrepreneurs, and creators to unpack the secrets to their success faster and with more explosive results. In this episode, I sat down with Mark Studer, the mastermind behind Mark Builds Brands and a direct copy expert. Mark is revolutionizing the e-commerce space with AI-powered systems to help you scale faster, leaner, and with more explosive results. Did you know that a single ad can take your business from $0 to 8 figures? We dive into the power of a killer ad, the organic content trap, and how to write copy that converts. If you are trying to build a business without luck or followers, this is the conversation you need to hear. Let's get into it. Why should you run more ads? Let me just ask this, aren't ads bad because you're paying money for ads? Shouldn't you just be doing organic content to build your brand? Can you build a brand with paid ads? So can you give me the bull case for why should you run more ads? Why are ads good?
The reason ads are good is because at any point in time, your business is one winning ad away from being a business that doubles its growth or triples its growth or 10x's its growth. If you look at some really successful D2C brands, for example, what's the fucking brand? The t-shirt brand, Classic Tees, right? So they ran an ad. I can't remember the exact figure, but it brought them to 8 figures within a record time. One ad, 8 figures. And you can look historically at companies, even big companies like Chevy and Ford, where they created one ad that just exploded their business to the point where it was unrecognizable. That's all you need. You want to cut your costs. You want to acquire customers more profitably. One ad is all it takes. And for me, it gets very personal because I can literally think of specific ad creatives that have been made by myself or my team that took my life to the next level. That took me from being a broke college kid to making his first 10K month. That was one ad that took me there. And same thing to go from a 7-figure entrepreneur to an 8-figure entrepreneur. There's a few ads that really take you there. And it's the biggest needle mover for the most part that you can have in your business, period, ever. Because if you're that good at writing ads and creating them, you'll never worry about getting customers for your business ever again.
You've worked with a lot of people. You've had those, I'm thinking of these step changing ads, these inflection points, holy shit, life just changed after him. Why do some people suck at ads and some people get it? What's the playbook? How do you become good at ads?
So ads, if you think, it's really important to look at the history of direct response and of ads in general. The first direct response ad was made in the early 1900s, and it's just basically a word on a piece of paper, a board, right? It's just apples. That was the first ad. It's oh, they have apples. Let's go buy an apple. But if you look at the history of how they evolved, most of it just stems from direct response copy. Right? Because you go from that to having an ad in a newspaper or having direct mail promotions. If you look at old copywriters like Claude Hopkins, Eugene Schwartz, Gary Halbert, Gary Bencivenga, guys like that, freaking legends, right? They were mostly running direct mail campaigns, which is really, really hard. When's the last time you opened a piece of your mail, actual mail, and decided to buy? Really hard. Different game, of course, now. But so much of it stems from copy. And what I say about copywriting is it's literally learning a new language, man. It's very unnatural, especially if you go through traditional educational systems. They're telling you to write in the most complex, difficult way possible. Use the biggest words you possibly can. Biggest vocabulary wins, right? And you literally have to unlearn things to become successful. If I were to go to Gary Halbert, who's not alive anymore, but if he was, and I'd be Gary, I just graduated from school. I got a marketing degree. I want to work for you. He'd be no. Like that would be the biggest red flag to him on the planet. And he would be like, all right, cool. You like your first step is going to be to unlearn everything, literally unlearn, like unraveling the spool of all the bullshit you were fed. So I think that's why most people struggle with it, is because it's literally like a new language that you have to learn, and it takes time and it takes a lot of repetition. It takes a lot of feedback as well. Like I've had a lot of copywriting mentors. I still do in my life that I'm learning from. And that's really the best way to get good, of course, with the help of AI. But the thing about copywriting with AI is if you don't know what good copy looks like in the first place, like, how do you know it's actually going to convert? Be like, oh yeah, this sounds pretty good. No, that's not like the checkbox you have to check before you run an ad. It's much more extensive than that. So I think that's why so many people struggle. The second thing is organic content over the past, let's just say, decade has blown up. And so many people are good at creating content and bad at creating conversions. Two different things. Once again, you can be really good at getting attention and suck at monetizing it. Just because you have like a good hook on your TikTok doesn't mean that's going to be a good hook for a direct response. Just because you have like a video that you posted that got 5 million views doesn't mean you throw it on paid ads and you're a millionaire. There's like so many more pieces that come together for the direct response side to make money.
When it comes to monetization, we've talked a lot about the top of funnel, the copy, maybe the scroll stopper. What is I love the 80-20 principle. Typically there's like one thing, or 80% of the effort comes from 20% of the inputs or the output. Like the one thing that does most of the return. When it comes to when you see people's funnels or monetization, what's usually just the lowest hanging fruit to helping monetize or increasing monetization that you see?
Just probably better copy. And I'll say this. I put up a post on my IG the other day and I was like, ask me anything. I'll review somebody's store or something like that. And I got a bunch of DMs really quickly. And so I started looking and people were like, hey, can you review my store? And this is the biggest mistake that I see people making right now. I click on the link. I'm like, oh, looks nice. Like looks aesthetically pleasing. And then I scroll through and I actually start reading some of the copy and it is dog shit. It is terrible. Like, not even like features and benefits, like basic, like, oh my God, it's so bad. Nobody is even making this a no-brainer for anybody that buys. Like, this is really bad. And I think people fall into the trap. They're like, oh, I need to like build a brand, like branded dropshipping. Mark builds brands. I got to build a brand. And so they fall in love with the store design and they're like UI, and they don't write freaking high converting copy to go along with it. It's like, that is the 80-20, because I can tell you from experience, I have ran funnels that are ugly as shit. They're disgusting, but still, they just destroy. They just run like nothing else. And that's literally because you're getting the 80% right, which is the copy. And maybe secondary to that, like the funnel architecture. But if you get that right, like you can mess up everything else and still be good.
Yeah, I'm just thinking I need to get you to look at my website. And you fall in love with the UI, the UX, but the copywriting. I like what you said. Like the ugly funnel with good copy converts. The pretty funnel with bad copy doesn't.
Exactly.
Money. You said, or I want to pull up something here, that I want to come to this. You said something, if you put in 80%, you get 80% results, but if you put in 120%, you get 1,000% results. Can you talk about how you've seen that with regards to your life or businesses you've worked on?
I've seen this when hiring employees as well. There's people that will give you 80%. There's people that will give you 90%. And there's people that will give you like 99%. But going from 99% to 100 or 100 to 120 is what separates like the B players from the real A players. And the same is true with yourself. Because I find that when you really go deep within yourself to bring out everything that you possibly have with getting a project done, that's what separates you from everybody else. Like the bar is set so incredibly low for most people. It's easy to put in 120%. Like that's not a difficult thing to do. You just have to work a little bit harder than most of the lazy fucking people that you're competing against. And I also think that in the age, especially right now, I don't know if this is a fucking trend or what, but the whole like balance, hyper optimization, what is the fucking name of the biohacking? Yeah, all this shit, right? Oh my God, it drives me insane sometimes. Like if you're not willing, I'll probably get some heat for this, but if you're not willing to sacrifice something as little as sleep to get something done, then I think that once again, you're going to lose to people like me. I'm not like trying to diss sleep by any means. I usually sleep pretty well, but I'll tell you what, if I had a project that I said, I'm getting this shit done 100% by tomorrow before I go to sleep until I die. Like, it will get done. And it starts getting pretty late. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to hit my 8 hours tonight. Then, no, fuck that. I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to stay up and get the project done. If I get zero sleep, for me, that's still a win because that's a bigger mental win than the L that I would fucking take if I just went to bed on time. Like, you're an adult. If you say, like, for me, the biggest value in my life, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it at the highest level possible, right? Your say-do ratio. Because there's so many people that I know they just talk. They just talk and they talk and they talk, and then they have nothing to back it up. And that, to me, that's like the worst person that I would want to be myself. And so that's what I think about, like, the going from 100% to 120%. If you want to be the 120% guy, just be, like, it's crazy that this is something I have to say, but just be a man of your fucking word. If you say you're going to do something for yourself, to other people, it doesn't matter. You do it no matter what.
I love what you said there, that say-do ratio. I've actually never heard that, but it sounds like what I hear you describe this is if you say something, you do it. The more times you do that together, that builds confidence, that builds reps, and ultimately you don't like breaking that agreement with yourself because it's easy to do that. No one else can see, but you don't like breaking that agreement with yourself, and you prefer to get 8 hours of sleep. But hey, if I'm not going to, I'm not going to stop. Like, if I got to hit the goal, I'm going to hit the goal. You prefer to get that, but yeah, if I tell myself I made this agreement, we're staying up all night, we're doing the thing too. And it sounds like you've just built that over and over again, which again leads to the confidence and leads to most of the world doesn't do that. So yeah, it's actually, that's the bar. The bar is actually lower than you think. So being 120 is actually easier than you think.
That's right.
Very cool. You've also, you talked about how when you were building your brand or the YouTube channel, you threw out some conventional advice, thumbnails, titles. I'm not in a fancy studio, just me with my the Walmart mic and your headphones too. What is another conventional rule in marketing that you're like, screw that, I'm going to throw that at the door?
Man, I don't know if I can think of one in specific, but I would just have this as a rule that you should just question everything. Like, all these rules that we have as marketers was just invented by some guy no smarter than me or you, and then everybody just followed him. Like, marketers are a bunch of copycats, and they never like look back to see, all right, why did this guy actually start this in the first place, and question that. They don't, just because that's just human nature, right? We don't want to break the pattern, right? Because everybody he copies him. Oh, he's doing that. Let me copy them. Oh, there's got to be a reason that he's doing that. I'm just going to copy that, and then they don't question things. I think one of the best skills you can have as a marketer is just have these super weird, outlandish, creative ideas that you test, but you don't see anybody else doing. Because ultimately, those are going to be like, you can play the game of copycatting people, and you're always going to be second. You'll never be first. You'll always be second at best. Like, best is second place. So if you want to be in first place, then you have to be the guy that does come up with these crazy fucking ideas, breaks all the patterns, breaks all the rules, and still makes it work.
There's the line, good artists copy, great artists steal. But I think what you're stealing is not the 100%. You're maybe taking, like, if you take that puzzle, you're maybe taking a puzzle piece, or maybe 3 puzzle pieces, but you're putting in a new piece, which makes an entirely new product. It's like taking from the greats, like some of the marketers you mentioned before, but you're adding your own flair to it, and you don't want to be the second in line. You want to create something brand new.
Yeah. I think the stealing is fine, but stealing and copying, there's a pretty big difference, right? Because stealing is not copying, because it's usually taking a piece and then iterating on that, or taking a specific like philosophy or element from an ad or a landing page and applying that to your own business. And that, I think, is good, because then you're learning from the people around you, and typically that is how new ideas are born. Nothing is actually new in this universe, right? Everything already exists. It's just new combinations of things that create something what we call new. And you know that if you look at like quantum physics or quantum mechanics or something like that, like, nothing is actually new. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. That means that everything is coming together to create what we call something new. So stealing is totally fine, but the copying, like one-to-one, ripping people, is like, you can do better. Like, I'm not here to judge. I am here to judge a little bit, but like, you can just do better. It's like the bar is so low, you don't have to copy. And plus, a lot of these ad platforms, they know you're copying. They're going to penalize you for it.
Everything's a remix.
Yeah, everything's a remix. Yeah.
I want to ask you now for a 3-minute TED Talk. You can do it in less if you want, but I'll give you 3 minutes. And the 3-minute TED Talk, I've heard you talk about the 3 different levels of when you're speaking to someone. if I'm correct, if I'm capturing this correctly. Like you're speaking to someone at one level versus speaking to their body versus speaking to their soul, if I'm capturing it correctly. It might not be possible to do it in 3 minutes, but I'm going to ask, can you do a mini TED Talk? There's a lot of alpha right here. And how can you speak to someone's soul?
That's a crazy place to start. All right, let me give some context for this TED Talk. So there's this really famous quote by this amazing copywriter, and he said, you have to enter the conversation that people are having in their own minds, right? So as you're scrolling through social media, you think about your customer, you think of them in your mind. They're thinking these thoughts. And if you want to have a good ad, if you want to be a good copywriter, you have to enter the conversation in their mind. And I was like, okay, that sounds really good. That sounds like level 1. How can we take it a step further? Because if you look at the way that we think, 95% of our thoughts aren't even conscious. They're subconscious. So it's not like we're scrolling through our phone and we're out loud like thinking, oh, that's a cool piece of content, double tap. Let me scroll with my right thumb and continue to scroll. Like that's not how we think. So if that's the case, you really can't enter the conversations in someone's mind, right? You would have to enter the emotion, and emotions are felt in the body. And so if level 1 is enter the conversation in their mind, level 2 is enter the emotion in their body. Because we know that humans, right, they buy off emotion, yes, but they also justify with logic. So if emotions are felt in the body and we want to speak to people more deeply, not at the conscious level, but at the subconscious level, that's emotions. So that's like the second layer that you can get into. And the third layer is what you alluded to in the beginning, which is like you enter their level of energy in their soul. You enter their consciousness and their soul. And this is the level that most people never talk about. They never think about. And this is usually where I get the most skeptics that say like, oh, that's not actually how things work. Like a lot of the people, because it's a little woo-woo, right? It's a little spiritual. But what I noticed taking like mentorship and coaching from a lot of the most successful people is that the higher up the higher level of mentor that you get, the more interested they are in like the whole metaphysical, spiritual, lyrical shit, right? And so level 3 is, all right, we have level 2, like enter the emotion in the body. How can you go even deeper than that? Well, what is even deeper than our own biology, right? We're here existing as physical beings. What is deeper than that? And the only thing deeper than that is energy, because that's just what makes up the physical matter that we are here. But most people, they use this word energy, like, oh, he has good energy. Oh, she has bad energy, right? But we don't apply this to the marketing, because there's some phenomenal doctors and just thinkers that have existed before us that have literally decoded specific states of energy, right? We know that people that, calibrate, let's say at a low level of consciousness, low level of energy, they're typically feeling things like shame, like guilt, like apathy, like fear, right? They're operating out of these states of consciousness. And we literally have developed systems to be able to measure the level of calibration that somebody is at. And so if this is true, it's super easy to apply yourself. You're like, okay, I got to raise my vibration, I guess, and my energy and do all these things. But we don't apply it to marketing. And that's where I tried to step in and be like, how could I apply this to my copy? How can I write specific words that I'm entering the conversation in mind, I'm entering the emotion in their body, but I'm also speaking to their soul, to their spirit. And I'm entering their level of energy that they have in their soul. Because you can't speak to anybody more deeply than that, right? If you feel something, in your chest, you feel it. If you feel something like in your heart, like heartbreak, for example, then you feel that emotion. But you feel something in your soul, like you can't go any deeper than that. And so you can literally write copy based off of the way that, you use this combination of words and these logical arguments within your copy to specifically speak to people at these lower levels of consciousness. Because most people in the world, they operate at these lower levels of energy. Like looking up 30,000 feet, you look down at people on average, they typically calibrate pretty low and they never move. Most people don't change. And so how could I, with my copy, enter the level that they're at and help them raise their level to a higher level, and then eventually bring them back down so that they feel the difference from going up to the higher level and then back down. They feel that loss. that's the perfect time to sell them a product at that point.
Thank you so much for watching. As you can tell, these conversations typically go past 15 minutes. So if you're looking to catch the full conversation, you can head to my company's channel, Doola HQ, and catch the full convo there. And if you like this type of content, why not check out more? My goal is to provide a raw, unfiltered, and authentic look of my life here in New York City, scaling Doola, where I'll share things like how we raise venture capital, the challenges the team faces on a daily basis, and how we're scaling to 10,000 customers and beyond. So if you want to see more content like this, please hit subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll be dropping content on the regular. And last but not least, if you yourself are starting or scaling a business, I'd love to be a small part of the journey. You can head to doola.com where you can get a free demo with the team. You can also check out my newsletter, the 2-Minute Business Hack, or any of my free ebooks, $1 Million Pitch, $1 Million Body, or $1 Million Business. Again, head to doola.com, get that demo, or check out any of my free content. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.